You said that if you said, oh, when we were talking about what you said earlier was when I asked, what do you think is the most logical next step? And you first thing you said was that they would accept my challenge. You know,
Yeah.
and that is very logical. You know, it's like, well, why wouldn't they do it? Why wouldn't they do it from the start? Because you see in those messages I sent you about the one of my recent videos, you know, 5 or 6 trolls, right? And
Yeah.
they're saying things to make me feel bad, right?
Yeah.
Now, in your opinion, you know, do you think my martial arts challenge is a source of pride for me?
Of course.
So why wouldn't they beat me if they could? You see what I'm saying? And furthermore, it's not like it's a small group of them. You know, I have 80 more views just from that Facebook group of gang stalkers alone. And they're the military. That video shows that it's the military, it's people in Satanist groups, it's people in gay groups. By the time you look at all the groups they're involved in, right, they have this huge network to recruit from. You know, there's like over 3 million people involved in the military. Last time I checked the statistics, right? You know, there's over 2 million Freemasons. The Democratic Party is huge. You know, there's martial artists who have contacted me. I have videos where martial artists prank call me and troll me. And I have them on record, you know, following me in traffic with the sticker of their martial arts school, you know, on their on their back window. You follow me?
Yeah.
So these people, by not accepting my challenge after the last challenger lost, have conceded my point that I am the top martial artist in America when you think about it. Because they have, you know, they have a $52 billion black budget. That's the intelligence budget alone. Okay, not to mention, you know, the other budgets, the pharmaceuticals and so on, right? They have this huge budget. They have this huge surveillance state. If somebody existed that could beat me, don't you think they would have found him when, you know, it's almost 3 years is up. The challenge began December 20th, 2013. If someone like that existed, don't you think they would have found them and got them to beat me? Rather than have me brag and rub it in their face that they can't for almost 3 years?
Yeah.
You see that? You see how that's a very logical conclusion? It is like the unavoidable conclusion.
But I don't think it's going to happen yet, but I do think it is going to happen.
You think they're going to accept? We have to consider this.
At some point, yeah.
You have to consider this. The challenge ends, and I've made it clear for quite some time, December 20th this year. It's going to be 3 years. All my plaques say 3-year challenge. My first plaque, you know, 2013 to 2016.
Then I don't think it will.
So you don't think...
I didn't realise it was 3 years.
Yeah, so, you know, and 3 years is a long time.
What are you going to do after that, then?
I'm going to go back to drinking and smoking, and I'm going to rub it in their face. You know, I'm going to make sure everyone knows what they put me through, how they cheated me, how they acted dishonorably. I mean, you know, I know you're not as familiar with martial arts as I am, but I'm sure you're familiar that honor is a part of martial arts, right?
Yes.
You know, you think about the samurai and the karate guys, and they have their rituals, and they take it very seriously. And their honor, they take it very seriously. So you can imagine how disgusted I am when these people sink to the level of playing stupid, drugging me, fuming me, messing up my eyesight, messing up my ability to get nutritious food, you know, following me around, trolling.
Okay, so did you say December this year?
Yes, December 20th.
And then you're going to go back to drinking and smoking?
Yes.
Right, okay.
And, you know, it's their treachery, too. And I'm being shunned by women. What's
the purpose of going back to drinking and smoking?
Because I've wanted to for a long time, and the only reason I put it off is because
of your martial arts?
That, and I'm almost, you know, I'm between 7 and 8 years sober. You know, I quit May 6th, 2009, I quit drinking. And September something 2014, I quit smoking weed. So I'm completely sober. Making this video, you gotta
So
realize.
you're going to start smoking weed again?
Yes, and drinking, because there really is no reason for me not to. I made over 7 years worth of videos, and I make my point very well. They're going to continue to drug me. Now look, drugging messes up my brain. It messes up my coordination. It messes up my digestive system, my liver, my kidney, what have you, my bladder, because these things it goes through my digestive system. You see what I'm saying?
I know you've told me this before.
So why, the reason for me not to drink, right, is unhealthy and blah, blah, blah. You want to be sober. Those things are messed up anyway by the drugging. So why on earth would I keep quitting drinking when it's something that would make me feel good?
Mm. Okay.
And also, would you say that it's fair to say that if I was given my rightful place in society, they put me on the news and said, this guy's the top martial artist, maybe I opened my own school, maybe I was a movie star or something, I'm making millions of dollars, I have nice cars and jewelry, just like in that video you showed me, right? The gold digger prank? Women go gaga over nice cars and jewelry and social status, right?
Yeah, not me, but yeah, all other women, yeah.
So they've denied me the admiration of potential wives, potential sex partners, and economic advancement. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Now, let me read to you from this book. This is actually part of my martial arts philosophy. This book is called Fighting for Honor, The History of African Martial Art Traditions in the Atlantic World. This is the history of martial art traditions from West Africa and Angola. Okay, one of these, the guy who wrote this book is an Igbo. Okay, remember my tribe?
Yeah, I know your tribe.
What's my tribe called?
Igbos.
Bingo. So the guy who wrote this book is talking about martial arts. He's talking about martial art traditions that traveled from Africa, from Biafra, from Nigeria, to America. And this is what he says about martial arts. So not only is it socially normative in America, it's also traditional and socially normative in martial arts. Watch this. Mastery in either art. Okay, let me start off, I'm not going to read too much. I'm going to start a little earlier. Although the Biafran, remember, Biafra is the flag in the background, right? I'm Biafran. It is the country that tried to leave Nigeria.
Is that the flag you've got in the background?
Yes, the one on the top, not the one on the bottom. The Pan-African flag is the big one. The one above it with the sun in the middle, which is almost identical, is the Biafran flag, okay? And it was the Nigerians, Nigeria and Southeast Nigeria was Biafra. They wanted to leave with the oil, and that's what the Civil War was over. Anyway, although the Biafran grappling and the Angolan percussive arts were stylistically very different, both fulfilled similar social roles. Both were used as a form of entertainment when practiced to music, a form of dueling to settle personal scores, a ritualized form of conflict resolution, or a form of battlefield training for young soldiers. And that's what sparring is, battlefield training. And that's why it shows who the top martial artist is without fighting to the death and maintaining honor. But I'll get into that later. Anyway, central to all contexts is the concept of honor for the practitioner, and often for the community through the honored practitioner. They're saying, hey, if the top martial artist is an Igbo, for example, it brings honor to the Igbos. You follow me?
Yeah.
It goes on to say, mastery in either art could bring a skilled practitioner respect for his graceful execution, the admiration of potential wives, and economic advancement. Each art provided a path of spiritual development that could take an exceptional adept to one of the highest forms of honor in Africa, the status of a transcendent hero. Remember, I was talking about honor and being a transcendent hero with you the other day, right? Someone who was initiated into full mastery of Ngolo could become a special kind of ancestor, one who could physically manifest in the bodies of his descendants. Similarly, the Biafran art of Mba and its cognate could serve as a tool to achieve the highest of honors. A master of the martial art Diumba who remained true to the accompanying moral code could become a transcendent hero, the most honored of ancestors, who could be called upon for guidance in important matters and could reincarnate among the living while retaining a position among the dead ancestors. In this sense, both Ngolo and Umba can be understood as martial arts, and more specifically as martial ways in the strict sense. The importance of following these African martial arts into the Americas becomes clear when one considers that while it was economic in its objective, the slave system was ultimately held together by physical and symbolic violence, real or threatened. Therefore, it should not be surprising that at times African combat traditions were used in the Americas as forms of self-defense against the violence. Again, I stress self-defense. I stress combat training, not entertainment. Not who's the most flexible, who puts on the best show, but according to the tradition of African martial arts, and which are the oldest martial arts, I stress combat, percussive skills for combat, and self-defense. And it has a very profound history in the Americas when you look at the slave system, which was held together by violence and technology and Western philosophies. So on many levels, spiritual, philosophical, social, economic, this is a very deep conflict between the most honorable Africans were martial artists. This guy who wrote the book, okay, he's a professor. He received his doctorate in African history from the University of California, Los Angeles. His research focuses on historical ethnography, which he explores through the lens of African and African diaspora martial arts. He is an assistant professor of African and African diaspora history at the City University of New York, Baruch College. Okay, he's a professor who wrote this book. This is not speculation. This is how it was. And he consulted dozens of martial artists when he wrote this book. You follow me?